Yo, what's up mages and knights, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the ultimate gear guide for the Sword of the Survival Wizard King update in Black Clover Mobile. So if you want to build the strongest units, farm more efficiently on the gears and more, and dominate both PvP and PvE, this guide has everything you need, so let's get started. So first off, what are gears? So basically gears are equipment pieces you attach to your characters to boost their stats. Think of them as your character's weapon, armor, and accessories that gives you huge stat bonuses to power them up. So basically, as you can see here, it gave me an additional 69,360 power, 25,000 more physical attack, and 35,000 more defense. This is the power of gears. So basically, when I remove them, it went all the way down to 62,981. Basically, gear powered my character unit, Black Asta, to almost double or more in power. So let's talk about more about the gear slots. So the gear slots basically are the empty spaces you can see here to put your gears. So each gear slots has like a weapon, an armor, a hat, or a boots. Basically, a lot of things. So each slot can have a main stat. So a main stat meaning it can either be a magic attack or a physical attack in here. So, but in like let's say in more defensive items, we can like this one, it can only have like HP. For this one, it can only have like defense, and this one it can only have magic attack and physical attack only. And this one, of course, it can either be physical or magic attack as well. So now let's dive in more into gear sets and advanced set. So basically, what it does is here. Let me just put back Asta's gear. So basically, what the gear sets does, each gear sets have unique additional stat bonuses. So we have the advanced defensive set, as I call it, or the Great Merchant's Collection. I only inputted like two of the same gear, so it only gave me plus 30% defense. Basically, gives me more defense. And if I instead of two piece I put of the same and I add like four piece of the same gear set, I will have 40% increased def and 80% fortify. So the reason why I went with only two piece is because I don't need the additional 8% to 10%, and I want more gear sets so that I can get more out of my gears. So each of the gear sets have like different passive, as you can see, as I shown you earlier. So we have the defense set will give you plus 30% if two piece. For the advanced attack set or the ominous gear, it gives us a if two piece we have more plus 7% attack and plus 7% magic attack. But if 4 piece we deal more, our damage dealt is increased by 15%. So basically that's all about our gear sets. Now let's move on to the advanced gear sets. So basically advanced gear sets are gear sets you can get from the advanced dungeon. So let me just find it here. Maybe my Sekre has one. So basically this is one of the examples of a advanced gear set. So the advanced gear sets are basically another type of gear set, but like are harder to obtain. They can either be obtained by the dungeons or the advanced gear dungeon as well. So in here, I inputted a two-piece which grants 20% reduced damage taken if HP is equal to or higher than 90%. So basically, I will take 20% more 20% less damage if my HP is more than 90%. So this is basically a very good gear set for most of the time for supporters or healers. Now let's move on to the when to use the two-piece or four-piece set. So basically, you can, to be honest, you can use either two-piece or four-piece. But for me, I use two-piece more for more versatility or more I can gain more out of it or make it worth it more for my gear. So, but for 4-piece is also possible, but usually I use 4-piece for my 4-piece set. Wait, let me find my
I won't
case
let
Vanessa.
anyone
As you can
stand
see
in the
here,
road
I
of
used
the
a
Black
4-piece
Clover.
here because I want my case Vanessa to be faster than all of the enemy so that I can debuff them. So I used here because the 4-piece it gives a +5 speed, as you can see here, and also the grants the wearer a 5% increased speed buff for 2 turns at the start of a wave. So basically, if you want to use a two-piece set, if you want to uh, mix critical attack and attack for DPS as well as give them more speed, and for 4-piece, this bonus is powerful and fits for most of the time for units like Case Vanessa to be faster than most of the units. So it really depends on what type of unit really. So now let's move on to the substat and transcended substat. So basically substat
There are lots of awesome people
are
here. With them,
the
I can beat
stats
anyone.
after the main stats. So basically, as you can see here, these are my substats. So for the substats, for the different roles, uh, we have the crit res, HP, accuracy, defense, HP. We have crit rate as well. We have flat defense, and many more. So higher rarity gear rolls or the gear substat changes, as you can see here. You can upgrade your gears, by the way, to level 12 to get all of these four gear substat. But most of the time it will be a random substat, so you can change those gear substats to with our gear reroll. So basically, what this does is it will reroll with every substat here. But if you use this one, which is a one lock substat, so basically, for example, I want to use this, then I want to lock one of my main substats that I want to keep. So let's say I want to keep my defense substats. I'll use this gear reroll to reroll the other substats that I need, but I will still keep this defense. For the red substat or the two lock substat, of course, it's same concept as this one, but this time it's two. But in here we have the shiny red substat. So basically, the shiny red substat will give you a better rating of the substat. So if, for example, when I use this, it will give me more, let's say with my luck, of course, it will give me C. But with this, maybe I'll get A or S, to be honest, because it's a shiny substat. So basically, it gives you better rarity of substat. So usually prioritizing substat is very important to scale with your character's ability. And don't ignore flat stats either, especially for early to maybe mid game. Now, before I forget, let's talk about transcending gears. So basically, what transcending gears means is that as you can see here, it's like no, it's not glowing right now, right? The four stars. So basically, transcending gears increases the main stat here. Let's say, for example, I want to transcend it more. The HP from 6.7k it will become a 7.4k. So for example, let's say my gear transcending is already like
There
maximum
are lots
already.
of awesome people here. With
After
them, I can beat anyone.
maximizing your gear transcending, you will obtain I think fifth, was it fifth? Like one, two, three, yeah, a fifth substat, which is very important so that you can increase your CC or maximize more your character unit's power. So basically, transcending units is pretty important, and it's kind of expensive as well since you need 10 of the same copies of this one just to transcend them to maximum here. And as well in changing of the substat of the transcending of the gear, you have to have a 500,000 Yules, which is kind of expensive since BCM doesn't offer a lot of Yule events. And what you want to do here is get most of the time, for example, for Black Asta, you want to have a uh, defense substat. So basically, in the fifth substat, it's very important since it gives you another opportunity to increase your stat more for more efficiency. So I'll do a more in-depth guide on the every gear piece which of the substats. So basically, let's go from the beginning here. We have the attack. So attack is basically a physical attack and magic attack. So both of them basically increases your physical or magic damage output. So for the defense, in the other hand, so in the defense, it usually just means it reduces your damage taken. For the HP, so basically, if you raise your HP, basically just increase your health bar. As simple as that. For the accuracy, in the other hand, it's basically it increases your chance to land debuffs for the debuffers, and for the attackers, it gives you a higher chance to land your critical attack or critical damage as well. For the crit rate, basically, just increases your chance to land a critical hit. For critical damage, it's also self-explanatory, so it just raises your crit chance, critical hit damage more. For the critical resistance, so basically it just reduces your critical hit damage taken, I think, or reduces the enemy's crit chance. So for the speed, basically what speed does, it lets your unit take turns faster, so you can land your moves more first than your enemy. So now for the pen, so basically what pen does is it boosts the damage dealt after calculating the defense. Then for the endurance, I haven't gotten clear with what the endurance does from our devs, so I'll leave it at that. For damage resistance, so basically what damage resistance does is it reduces incoming damage and crit damage, and usually it refers to blocking our critical damage, and as well as reduces, I think it lessens our debuff chances. For example, let's say we have our talent of um, debuff immunities when we resist a damage successfully. If you have a high damage risk compared to your enemy, it basically will not let the debuffer or any of the debuff moves to hit you. So now we are moving on to the in-depth gear set guide by role. So basically, first we have I think everyone wants to invest a lot on the attackers. So in the role of attackers, basically you want to have a uh, set of advanced attack set, as I call it, or the ominous gear with 2 piece, as well as having a 2 piece speed, so that you can do your moves or turns faster. And basically, I only did a 2 piece here of 2 gear sets only compared to Black Asta, who has three gear set. Basically, I want to have only 2 gear sets so that I can maximize my small pieces here, so that it can give me more critical rate and maybe even more stat bonuses from whether it may be more accuracy, more critical damage, or even more physical attack, since this is Black Divider Asta. For, let's say, for Lumiere here, for Lumiere, what I did here is basically as well two gear sets only. We have the advanced attack set or the ominous gear, as well as the advanced critical damage set. So basically, we just want to maximize Lumiere's magic attack, and as well as the accuracy and the crit damage. Crit damage is where his damage really comes from. I just only increase the magic attack a lot so that it can boost more damage output, as well as giving the mirror more barriers, for example. So for the substats, really for, let's say for BDA, we want to focus on more on basically attack. Then we have the crit rate, then we have the crit damage, then we have the accuracy. Basically, of course, attacks self-explanatory that we have to increase our damage output on our physical attack. Then for the crit rate, we want, since BDA is a chaos unit, basically reduces the chance to crit more. We essentially made his crit around 200 plus so that he can really crit, as well as you have to prioritize crit damage as well. As you can see here, I haven't really prioritized my crit damage, but I will be fixing those soon. And we should have a pretty good accuracy stats as well, so that our damage doesn't get blocked from the enemy supporters or their defenders or even their debuffers. So for Lumira as well, same thing. Just magic attack, crit damage, and more accuracy. To be honest, it really depends on the attackers on their kit. So I could post more guides about this of our each of the units here, of the meta units that we have currently. So that's all for the attacker in-depth gear set guide by guide. Now we are moving on to the defender role gear set guide by guide. So we have first, let's say, of course, we want to work on the hybrid DPS Black Asta. So basically, what I did here is I added only a gear set of 2-piece defense, 2-piece HP, and 2-piece speed. So basically, I want to maximize his defense stat as well as giving him more HP so that I could tank more damage from Lumire's ultimate and second skill, to be honest. But for usually defenders, like normal defenders, not like hybrid DPS like Asta, usually I put this type of gear. Usually I put like this type of gear for them so that it reduces the enemy's DPS damage. We have the 4-piece Jester, Nomad Jester set. So basically what it does is it inflicts a reduced damage, 35% reduced damage on the enemy with the highest all attack for 2 turns. So basically reduces, most of the time right now, our arena, we have Lumire as the main DPS. So it basically reduces damage so that our supporters and defenders basically uh, basically tanks their damage. So basically this gear was supposed to be Kaiser's, but I input it to Chester. Also we have a DPS type of defender, since most of the time the defenders are usually DPS before. So we have my Mario, which has around 90 magic attack and our crit rate is around 100. It's not really good to be honest, but usually I just do the 2-piece, same as the attacker uh, gear to be honest. As well as my Noel here, same thing. More magic attack and crit rate. And that's all for the defender's side, really. Now we are moving on to the healers of the role. So basically what healer does, or of course from the word itself, it heals. And the gear set for them usually is this for units that have like a revival. Like most of the time it are mimosa units. So mimosa units usually has this 4-piece gear set, which of course if the wearer is a healer grants them 50% increased mobility buff and an SP plus 4 buff when an ally dies. So basically what it does is like, for example, let's say I'm in an arena, so I'm doing PvP. My Lumire dies from the enemy. Basically what it does is that my Mimosa will get an increased mobility buff, so basically she will speed up, then she will get an additional SP plus 4, which means a special points plus 4 means I can use my ultimate more so that I can revive my DPS faster who just died. So basically on the healers under substats. Basically, you want to put them, you want to prioritize HP percent. Then we have the defense percent. Then we have uh, damage res or damage resistance. Then we have flat HP. Basically, the perfect, I think. Wait, let me just find. Basically, the perfect substat is something like this. Let me just borrow secret real quick. So we have like this, something like this, I guess. Critical resistance was the subset I used before because of BDA meta time. Basically, I want to change the critical resistance to something else. And that's all for the healer type of unit like mimosas. For normal healer type, let's say for uh like maybe Witch Queen. For Witch Queen, we want to have a, let's say, 2-piece HP, 2-piece speed, and 2-piece defense. Let me just fix this real quick. So let me just remove. I'll just input like something like this. Let me just find some. Basically, you want to have an HP. And here, since their passive comes from their HP, basically just find all of the HP sets. So we have 2-piece here, 2-piece here. Then we want to have a 2-piece. I'll just put this example, but you should have a HP type instead of defense. You should find an HP type, as well as another 2-piece here. Let me just borrow some of them real quick. So we have 2-piece. This is the one, like this one. We want to have a 2-piece HP. Let me just find another one. Give me a second. Like this one. Wait, let me just get green charlottes. So we have like something like this. Then just put another HP here. So basically, we want to have a 2-piece defense, 2-piece HP, and 2-piece speed. So basically, we want to have in HP percent first. Then we should have a defense usually. A defense 1, then we should have a damage res, or where's that? Let me just find a damage res type of yeah, here, like this damage res, as well as a flat HP if you can. So that's all for the normal types of healers. So now we are moving on to the debuffers. So basically the meta debuffer I have right now is Chaos Vanessa, but I think she'll be gone in like a week because of Jester. But I would just like to show her gear set here. So in our gear set, we want to have a 4-piece speed and as well as a 2-piece damage reduction set. So basically the 4-piece speed gives her a +5 speed, permanently of course, as well as two turns increase speed at the start of a turn. So I just want her to be faster than most of the units in the game so that I can apply my debuffs. So the substats you want to focus on her is like HP percent. Let me just find a better one. So we have HP percent of course, as well as next we should have accuracy, then maybe a damage reduction and damage. Let me just find a damage reduction. Yeah, like this damage reduction. Then maybe for the another one we could have a flat HP or def percentage. For usually for the debuffers, they should really go for 4-piece sets since you really want them to go first. And that's all for the debuffer set guide by guide. Now for the unit that's kind of really important right now, we have the supporter units. So for the supporter units, I will use Sekra as an example since she's my best supporter unit right now. So really, you want the supporter units to have a speed, reduced damage taken, as well as more HP so that they can survive the damage from the DPS. So basically, you want her to have a total the ice matches remain or to have more max HP as well as more speed so that she can have more she can be first, as well as it can either be a damage reduction set or a defense set, to be honest, but I usually prefer a damage reduction set since it's kind of nice in the beginning to have a 20% reduced damage taken if the Lumiere of the enemy hits me. So basically in the substats you want to have her of course you should have a HP percent, def maybe def per, after HP percent maybe you can have a def percent, I guess, then a damage resistance so the enemy's DPS cannot like crit, it will get blocked, as well as you should have a critical resistance, but not really useful right now, so we can just change that to a flat HP stat. So to be honest, every unit has a different gear sets depending on what they actually do in the PvP and PvE area. So I will be I think doing more showcase on different types of units, especially meta units like Sekre, so that you guys could maximize their passives and their kits essentially. So now we are moving on to where to get these gears and accessories so that my units will become more stronger. So you can get the gears and accessories from the challenge here in the normal challenges, in the dungeons, of course. In the red dungeon, you can get a advanced speed, advanced defense, as well as some of the advanced gear sets actually. We have this one. Basically, what it does is the wearer is an attacker after granting 10% increased damage dealt for every subdued ally upon using a skill. So basically, our DPS will get stronger if one of our ally dies. So basically, I think this type of gear should be suitable for BDA or maybe the new half Asta coming. For this one, we have also Jester, of course. Jester basically, as you can explain earlier, we can do a 35% reduced damage dealt on an enemy with the highest all attack. Basically, reduces damage attack for 2 turns for the enemy when using a special skills, basically. So we can also get advanced millionaire's luxury item. Basically, what it does is for usually we use this for world bosses actually, or Lotus, I think. Then we also have the advanced speed set, advanced defense gear set, as well as advanced attacks set. Usually these gears are not that like useful unless you're trying to get more small slots for your to maximize your attack or magical attack or crit rate as well. For the blue, on the other hand, we have the Mimosa's 4-piece gear, which of course, as we explained earlier, if the wearer is a healer, it gives them mobility buff as well as SP plus 4. And this gear is usually used for maybe the Chaos Zora or the Chaos Fuego, Salamander Fuego, since it gives them a counter attack of 200% if they did a counter attack. We can also get this type of gear, advanced type of gear, Meticulous Tailor. Basically what it does is just gives us more SP, but at the same time in the 2-piece it gives like 35% chance, but in here it's guaranteed one it will give you +1 special points, and but at the same time it will also like gives kind of like silence your second skill basically. So this type of gear maybe is useful for units like maybe like Witch Queen, to be honest. Witch Queen, and I use this also as for Kahono for the world boss, and I think also for Lotus as well, so that he can keep spamming his ultimate. Now for the green set, we have the green in the green dungeon. We have this gear basically grants. So basically, this is also for maybe Lotus so that he can spam his ult more often, since he's a debuffer. Since it gives us SP plus 3 every turn if this is a 4-piece. You can also get a wait, let me just find one more. You also can get this one. Basically, upon using skill 1 attacks after granting 15% increased crit rate. So basically, maybe this is good for like season 1 Asta, I guess. Then for this one, so basically this can also be for Black Asta, I guess, since we want him to survive in his anti-magic state for long. You can also get a advanced pen set, as well as advanced critical damage set, and many other gears. So usually you just have to focus on the LR gears but you can, in the early game, you can just try to get as much as possible an LR gear. Another thing where we can get a gears, I guess, is in the advanced gear dungeon here. Basically, it gives you a random gear set of this one. And when you complete when you complete it 9 times, you can get here maybe usually I always get the reduced damage set since that's pretty rare. Then maybe this one for maybe the new Asta, I guess. Upon reading the kit, I think that type of gear is suitable. I mean, like, it's just speculation from me, to be honest. Then from the event, usually you can get also from events when Garena or Vic Games releases one. So basically, in here we have the uh, gears. As you can see here, we have the mysterious LR accessory selections chest, as well as the LR accessory selection chest, as well as the LR gear set selection chest. So basically, to be honest, you just have to farm a lot here. So basically, what it needs to be done is you just farm any types of normal bond stages so that it will give like any type of normal challenges really. Then it will give you a gear. I think also we can also get it from Tower of Adversity, I guess. I think they also give some gears, to be honest. I got a gears, I think usually accessory I get here, but I have already completed it. And also another thing is you can also get it from the uh I think Hall of Illusions, since it's been a long time since they update, like they didn't add anything on the PvE side here. Basically, this was a good PvE content since it gives us error accessory selection chest before, because this is the only way you could have gotten an LR accessory selection chest, and as well as maybe pay before. And I think also you can also get a gear from the exchange store after you completed a limited challenges like this one, I guess, from the world boss. Then here as well from the daily boss. Basically, the daily boss is located. Let me just find it. Daily boss here. Daily boss is just here as well. Usually, to be honest, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of places you can get a gears from. So, like I said, I'll give you some quick tips before we end. So, to be honest, you can also, first tip I would give you is to lock your gears. So, basically, to lock your gears is this one. So, basically, what it does is that you can never, you cannot never accidentally sell it. You can never, let's say, unequip it. And for my second tip is for use gear filters quite often so that you can navigate to what type of gear set you would like here. So just click the grade, then you pick up the set you want, and you can also put like maybe you want only LRs and the type you want. For example, you want to have this type of slot only, not, or you want the horizontal one, as well as the main stat. You want to have maybe, let's say, attack stat only or magic attack. So it really filters up for you so that you can navigate through uh, your gears faster. For my third tip, of course, as I stated earlier, is to uh, basically salvage your not important gears so that you can obtain so you can exchange them, to be honest, to the gear exchange center so that you can obtain normal substat changes, as well as maybe more enchantment stones, and even a chance to get a random accessory. It has a chance of also getting a mysterious accessories, to be honest. Let me just find it. Let me just scroll down a lot. See, you can get a, let's say this one, you can get this one, like crit rest. My fourth tip is upgrade only the LR gears, to be honest. And for the last tip for PvP side, I would say the most important uh thing to focus on is speed, and maybe speed is usually very important in controlling your turns, as well as maybe defense, because defense is very important so that you can tank more damage as well. And maybe first is speed, then second maybe your resistance, then maybe third will be your damage output. But most of the time, but right now I am very focused on my attacker units to invest on,
There are
since
lots of awesome people
they're
here.
kind of worth
With
it in a way.
power I can only use
And to
because
be
I
honest,
have
I
no
only have maybe like
Plans.
one to two s-
I
uh
won't let anything
support
stop
and
the
debuffer
bones of
units
the
who
blood
are
bulls.
who has pretty good gears. So if this guide helped you, smash that like button and subscribe for more maybe Black Clover Mobile contents, and maybe drop your questions so that I could answer as well if you have any questions. So see you in the next one, and good luck on becoming the next Wizard King.